What if Petunia Dursley actually loved Harry? It's a question I've been thinking a lot about over the last month. So, I rewrote a few of the major scenes that she is in and how they would have been different had Petunia actually cared and loved Harry. Some of these scenes are really short, some of them are longer, and I want to break each of them between all 7 books. So I'll publish different videos every day for the scenes that I rewrote in each book. They're going to feel like quick memories in the pensive, to be honest. But they aren't the longest scenes or even the most detailed. But I know some other channels just talk about the differences it would make, but I really want to actually rewrite some of these scenes. So I hope you enjoy this. And if you do, make sure you subscribe. It's annoying to hear that in every single video on YouTube, but I think you like a lot of the content on this channel if you like Harry Potter. So make sure you like the video, please subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think. And without further ado, let's get to the first scene of What If Petunia Dursley Actually Loved Harry in The Goblet of Fire. Scene 1. Aunt Petunia meets the Weasleys. Petunia Dursley was standing at the door, her lips pressed tightly together, trying to suppress the feeling of dread that settled in her stomach. It wasn't often that the Weasley family came to visit, and she wasn't quite sure how to react. When they arrived, Arthur Weasley's car sputtered to a stop in front of number 4 Privet Drive, and Harry came out to greet them, full of excitement. "Mrs. Dursley, it's so nice to see you again," Arthur said with his usual enthusiastic warmth. Petunia was just about to mumble a greeting when Molly Weasley swept her up in a hug, her smile wide. "Hello, dear, how are you?" Petunia couldn't help feeling a little flustered by Molly's matriarchal kindness. But she smiled and embraced Molly in a hug. "Well, I'm fine, thank you," she replied awkwardly, glancing at Harry as he talked with the others. "Harry's a fine boy," Molly continued, her voice softening as she caught sight of Harry's bright eyes. "And we're thrilled to take him to the Quidditch World Cup. I hope you don't mind." She looked at Petunia, seeking approval. Petunia for once hesitated. It was clear from the concerned look on Molly's face that she didn't want to cause any offense, and Petunia in turn found herself making an effort to not show just how much she disapproved. After a beat, she said, "Well, as long as you look after him, I suppose." Harry glanced back at Aunt Petunia, grinning. "Don't worry, Aunt Petunia. I'll be back soon." Scene 2. The Fireplace conversation about the Triwizard Tournament. That evening, as the Dursleys were settling in for the night, Petunia stood in the kitchen, arms folded tightly across her chest. She had just seen Harry return from school with a glint of excitement in his eyes, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Suddenly, the fireplace flared up with a green light, and Harry's head appeared, floating above the flames. "Aunt Petunia, I was chosen!" Harry's voice sounded almost too nonchalant for someone who had just been selected as Triwizard Champion. His green eyes gleamed, and there was a bit of disbelief behind them. Petunia's face paled. "You were what? Chosen for what? What in the world is going on at that school?" Her voice was sharp. Too sharp. "I'm fine, Aunt Petunia," Harry replied dismissively. "Really, I'll be okay. It's just a little unexpected, but nothing to worry about." She clenched her hands at her side, feeling frustration rise inside her. "Harry, you're not listening. This is dangerous. And the school, how could they let this happen? You're a child. They're putting you in harm's way, and I don't know what to do about it." "I'll be all right, really," Harry said again, his tone softer this time, though still too casual for her liking. "But, Aunt Petunia, I've got to go. The tournament starts soon." "Promise me you'll be careful," Petunia said, her voice trembling. She didn't know what else to say. It was all so new, so frightening. "I will," Harry assured her, giving her a small, reassuring smile before his head vanished from the fire. Petunia stood there, her eyes fixed on the hearth as the flames flickered and died down. Her heart was heavy with worry, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't going to be there to be able to protect Harry from all of this, no matter how hard she tried. Scene 3. Petunia at the third task. The day of the third task came faster than Harry had expected, and as he was ushered out of the castle to head to Hogsmeade, he was confused. He'd been expecting someone, maybe Molly Weasley or even Cedric's family, but it wasn't until he saw a familiar face that he stopped in his tracks. Aunt Petunia stood by the platform, dressed in a simple coat, looking both out of place and completely at ease. There was no unusual look in her face. Instead, she was holding back tears, her eyes full of concern. Harry blinked in surprise, his throat tightening. "Aunt Petunia?" he asked, walking toward her, his mind racing. She smiled weakly, her face a mixture of sadness and determination. "I can't go inside, Harry," she said, gesturing to the magical barrier that kept muggles out of Hogwarts. "The magic won't allow it, but I wanted to see you, to make sure you're all right." Harry was confused. "What are you doing here? Why now?" I couldn't stay away, not with all that's happening. I'm worried, Harry. I want you to be safe. Promise me you'll be careful during the task." Her voice broke slightly as she said it. Harry nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. He was so grateful that Aunt Petunia had come all this way just to see him. "I will." Aunt Petunia pulled him into a tight embrace, surprising him with how much comfort it brought. She whispered, "I'll be cheering you on from home, Harry. I'll be thinking of you." As they pulled apart, Harry saw a tear streaking down her cheek. He wanted to say something, but words failed him. Scene 4. Petunia at King's Cross. The day Harry returned from the Triwizard Tournament was one that would forever be etched in his memory. He felt hollow, empty, and though he didn't know how to explain it, broken. Cedric's death, Voldemort's return, it was all too much to comprehend. When Harry stepped off the train at King's Cross, he saw her before anyone else. His Aunt Petunia. Standing at the barrier, her face lit up with relief, and yet there was something deep in her eyes that made Harry's heart twist. She moved toward him quickly, her arms outstretched. "Oh, Harry, thank goodness," Petunia exclaimed, her voice thick with emotion. She wrapped him in a tight hug, pulling him close, and he didn't resist. Not this time. Not when he felt so lost. Petunia pulled back, her hands gently cupping his face, her eyes scanning him as if she could somehow make sense of what had happened, what he had gone through. "What happened, Harry?" she asked quietly, her voice filled with a mother's concern. "I don't know all the details. I got a quick letter from Dumbledore about it, but I can tell. You've seen things that no one should ever see at your age." Harry swallowed hard, unable to speak, and Petunia, without asking further, simply pulled him close again, her arms around him like a shield. "You're safe now. And that's all that matters," she whispered. "You're safe, Harry. And I'll be here for you."